This is part 3 of the Emily axe build, so final part. And what we're doing is just sharpening the axe. Now first I'm going to put on my anti-abrasion gloves. These are made for sharpening objects like knives and axes. It's supposed to prevent cuts. Then this is a stupid little Walmart $4 double cut file. And that thing, look at it, hogged the metal off there. I couldn't believe it. I spent so much money on files trying to find one that will hold up, and this little booger's done a pretty good job. Now there's an old Nicholson, and it's not a fair comparison. I've sharpened so many axes with this 10-inch bastard file, single cut file. But that little Walmart one did fine. Now what I'm doing here is checking to see if I have enough of an edge yet, and it's still dull on the edge. It won't grab that leather. Alright, so we'll keep going. We're going to file and file and file and file. I cut out an hour and about 15 minutes just of filing out of this. And of course I put more time in it than that. I would come down on my lunches, work for 30 minutes. I would come down after work for 30 minutes to an hour. And what I'm trying to do is get down to the recommended angle by the Forest Service, U.S. Forest Service recommendations. They say in most wood you can go with 18 degrees. That's what a lot of people go for. I look for 20 degrees. And to do that I have to take a lot of that bulge there, that cheek down. There's a special name for that. I don't know what it is. I forget. I just call it the bevel. So I'm making a bevel, and my bevels are kind of wide. They're about 3/4 of an inch usually to get them down that low. And you see I'm using an old piece of wallet to keep my file just off of the cheek. I don't want it to scratch the side of the axe, but I want to get it as low as I can. Okay, now we got something coming up. I'm using a spare piece of leather there, and we've got something that's pulling on the leather. See, it made a little bit of fuzz come off. Not really sharp yet. But let's switch over, put a little honing oil on, and switch over to a hardware stone. This is a hardware stone, and this is actually a good thing. It fell and broke in half. That's handy, because now it's the size of an axe puck. So I've got 2 of those stones now. And we'll go in circles, and then we'll go side to side. I'm trying to get the file marks out. Does getting file marks out help with performance? I have no idea. And if it does, I think it's too minor to make it worth doing all the time. But for me, I would use a file and a stone. I'd be ready to go. That's a working axe. But when I'm making them as a gift or I'm selling them, then I'll take the extra step and polish the bit just because it looks really nice. It doesn't look so rough then. So this is going to be very pretty. You wouldn't have to do it, and you do not have to keep it up. You don't have to keep the mirror finish on there. So first we'll use the stone to grind out the file marks, the grooves that were left by the file. And then we're going to start using some wet dry sandpaper. At first I'll just use dry, but as I get finer I'm going to need to add oil or water or something because I need to float it. I need to float the cuttings off the paper, otherwise you push it one time, it's full of metal smudge and it doesn't cut anymore. So we keep the lubricant on to keep it cutting as much as possible. And now we're getting closer. You can start to see that the foil's starting to come on the edge. That means the angles on both sides are now meeting in an apex. There it is. That shiny thing, that thing that looks like tinsel. It's thinner than tinsel. But look at that, even before I take that off. That's 10-inch tool leather, and it's just slicing right through there. Now, part of the reason I can do this is because it's a Vaughan. Vaughan was a very innovative company. See, I start out with 400 sandpaper right now, wet dry sandpaper. And now I'm taking the marks out left by the stone. And all we're going to do is just keep taking finer and finer scratches out of the axe face until it's a mirror. But Vaughan experimented with its own metal alloys and it's a very good metal. It's a nice design, and you can put an edge on that that's sharp enough to shave with, and I'll demonstrate that both on my arm and on my face when we get done here. Yeah, that's in Michigan. Can you see the rounded corners on the pole? And the toe and the heel used to be round, but they've been sharpened a few times, and now see that always comes back to a point like that. Okay, I'll scratch. I'll take the scratches out left and right, then I'll push it forward. And I had to turn the axe over because now it's so sharp it's dangerous to have it the other way. I want to be pushing away from the edge instead of into it, because that will have no problem cutting through that paper and the rubber sanding block. So I'm pushing off the edge instead of into it. A little more lubricant, because now I'm getting to finer papers. Normally it would progress from either 320 or 400 up to 400, from 400 to 600, and then from 600 you can jump up to 1,000 if you want to. If you have 800, use it, but usually I can't find that, so I get to 1,000, then I go to 1,500, then I go to 2,000. I have gone to 2,500, but it's not really necessary. And then a lot of people use buff and compound after that, and they'll go farther. I don't. I like handwork. I don't want to have to buy a bunch of machines or wheels, or I could cobble something together, I guess, but this is good enough. Now see, stropping out that little tiny fine little burr. Now if you strop it, now it should be ready to, it's just like a barber. They strop their razors. Turn up the sound. They just plowed it off. And now when you're on the face, I thought it was gentle enough that you can see it. Shaving my cheeks. I had about a week's worth of beard on. Then we'll clean up the sides of the axe. I got a little steel wire brush. And just taking a little bit of surface rust off. We'll apply some oil to it. Doesn't matter what kind of oil. You can use wax. You can use a bar of soap. I used to do my woodworking tools with soap. If you get ivory or something, then you want lots of perfumes and chemicals in it. Get something pure. And or paste wax or whatever you want to put on it. That's it. There's your axe. Very sharp.